All right, what's up YouTube? It's Andrew with Long Range Gear. I thought it might be fun to make a video about this old girl here. So this is a 2000 Ram 2500 that I got pulled out of a field. Took it as payment for a transmission job actually a while ago, and it was supposed to just turn into a shop truck. Well, I've enjoyed it so much that it's actually just my truck now. That's what I drive. I sold my 3rd gen, and this thing has been a blast. And I thought that, you know, we did so much work to it already to kind of get it to this good baseline that it might be fun to kind of document the build from here on out, because we've got some really cool things going on. So when I got this thing, like I said, it was payment for a job. It had, I don't know, I can't point here. It had some really awful stock wheels and tires that were way too small. It had a huge, like 4 or 5 inch lift or something on it. It had no engine, no transmission, no transfer case. The drive lines were in the back. It had a Dana 70 that was destroyed in it. Looked like, you know, the body's pretty straight. So, which is always nice to find in a 2nd gen. It had kind of a dinged up tailgate. But I was able to find a pretty good one actually, and a nice bumper, kind of cut to finish out the back end. Put a nice toolbox on it, the rear windows, a nice slider and everything like that. So on the exterior side, it's pretty sweet. Little dings and dents here. I mean, it's a 2nd gen, it's gotten used. So that's how she looks. But I figure we talk about what's underneath, what's coming, because I think I'm gonna make some cool videos about it. Just try to get away from like the constant transmission stuff. You know, I obviously love transmission, you know, work and any information related to that, but I think some people might get a kick out of what we're doing with this thing. So I'm gonna flip it around here and we're gonna go over it. All right, so here we have our 2000 Ram 2500 Cummins diesel. So again, this started off as just a rolling chassis. It was obviously a 24 valve. It was an auto truck, but we kind of had like a blank canvas to work on. I love this truck. I've fallen in love with it. So it was kind of rough, you know, not necessarily rough, but it wasn't great. So the window was bashed out when I got it. I guess the guy who had it before me broke it with a rock when he was mowing. So a rock got caught up in the blades, thrown up, broke the window. So what we did, one of the first things we had to do, get the window swapped out. But as you could hear when I opened the door, and there's even glass falling out. So we had to get that fixed. And when I did that, I swapped door panels, something a little nicer, a nice Laramie panel. I didn't reinstall this. I couldn't actually figure out how to get it off the old one, but I've since figured it out. So we got to get back in here to do the speakers and everything anyway, but that's a coming video. Had no bezel, and I had a parts truck actually sitting right over there. This parts truck came with the nicest Laramie bezel I've ever seen. So that got moved over. So that was pretty nice. Seats were obviously trashed because it's a 2nd gen. So this is actually a Dorman piece right here. They're like 150 bucks. A little bit more firm than a factory one, but very comfortable. And they look nice, so it makes your interior not look destroyed. I'll link the Amazon link, you know, to this thing, you know, in the description, so you guys can get it. It's a great upgrade. It you know, you're so used to popping these 2nd gens open and seeing these trashed. You know, it's just nice to have a good looking seat. We do need ourselves a steering wheel. This drives me absolutely crazy because this is like where your hand rides when you're turning. If anybody's got a good Laramie one, let me know. I'd love to buy a nice leather wrapped one. I don't like the rubber ones, but whatever. Headliner's pretty decent, a little dirty here and there. Back seat's great. Holds little man's car seat pretty well. So this part drives me nuts. I gotta fix this. Can't figure out how to get that door open just yet. So things we've done inside besides those little upgrades, you might notice that it has 3 pedals. So this truck was originally an auto. We used our parts truck over there. We got a nice We got a nice stock manual cluster. I've got pedals for days in the shop, so I just pulled a set of pedals off the shelf. I had clusters all day long as well. Center consoles. So for all intents and purposes, the interior is all buttoned up in factory original manual, which is pretty sweet. Let's see. So yep, we got all the Laramie stuff there and there and there, and you might think, well, it's like halfway there. You just need some seats now. Well, don't you worry, that's going to be coming in a video. I got some upholstery. I have a full leather seat selection, a little bit of upholstery for a damaged spot, and we're going to make a video about that. Let's see, the only other interior stuff that we're going to do, we might change this carpet. I'm not entirely sure. It gets dirty here. I mean, I live on a farm, you know, there's dirt everywhere. It's inevitable. So we have a factory stereo right now. I bought a nice stereo and some speakers to set up. Dash is not all cracked. It's actually a pretty clean truck. There's like a tiny little crack way up front that you can't even notice unless I point it out. For those of you that might notice, we take these NV 5600 transmission output shafts. We machine them down to make shift knobs. They're perfect. It's like a perfect weighted shift knob, and really helps your transmission feel nice and smooth if you know you're into that sort of thing. Let's pop the hood here. So you might notice that this is actually, before we get into it, it came with no bumper and a screwed up grill and some really terrible Amazon headlights. So the first thing was to go was the grill because it was flopping all over. The bumper, I kind of needed a bumper, and this was when it was shop truck status. We just needed the bumper. I didn't have one. Even my parts truck over there is missing one. But my employee Zach, he had a 4th gen bumper that he took off his 2nd gen. It came with the brackets and everything like that. And I was like, well, hey, 4th gen bumper is better than no bumper, right? And I know a lot of the internet hates it, but you know what? It's actually really grown on me. So I kind of dig it. I think I'm gonna leave it for a while. The sport bumper is an Amazon sport bumper, and it fits great. Like there's no problem. It's nice and solid. I do need an emblem, but anyway, let's get this sucker popped up here. Basic 24 valve Cummins. So this engine was obviously there's no engine here. Like I said, this whole front end was just gutted. There was nothing in here. So we ended up getting this 24 valve. It is a 53 block, but it was a running. I saw videos of it running, bought it for stupid cheap, and I just wanted to get this thing going. So I said, sure, why not? It'll be good for a while. So it's a I think it's a 99 53 block. Came with a 3-piece manifold. It's otherwise pretty much stock. The guy advertised, you know, nice injectors and a nice turbo, and obviously once I got it, none of that was true. It does have some exotic head studs in it already. I like exotics. They work fine for, you know, I don't push anything with big enough power. So yeah, an ATS 3-piece manifold, which oddly enough was not tapped for the EDT sensor. I had to do that. It was advertised as coming with an HE351. When I got it, it had a WH1C from an early 12 valve, so that was upsetting. So now we have an HX35 from Fenley. I did buy this secondhand. A good friend had it before me. So it's a 60, 67, 14, and it takes 3 to 7 business years for this thing to spool. So we're going to be busting that thing apart on a future video here to help increase our spool time a little bit. Bought a nice S&B intake. Really love these. It now has Dynamite 125 injectors, which are great. Really responsive, very clean. This thing does burn a little bit of oil. So we're in the works right now. I think I have the short block assembled for the new engine. The injection lines might look a little different on that one. Might sound a little different. There might be a check engine light when we get it installed forever. you'll just have to stay tuned for what we do there. But yeah, runs and drives all right. Ever since I put, you might be able to see it, I teed in, so it's got a Air Dog 165. Might be able to see, yeah, there it is. So I teed that in, and I think this fitting cracked. I didn't torque it down real hard, but it's a cheap fitting from Diesel Power Products. It's just like some generic off-brand or whatever that they had. I think I cracked it because I think I'm getting a little bit of air in the line, because once it sits for a little bit, especially nose up, it will be very hard to start. So let's go under here. Obviously, being my truck, it's gonna have damn drive shaft, an MV 5600. We ended up putting a 241 DHD transfer case that we scored. Did some drive shaft work, and then you might remember that I said this axle was grenaded, and this one up front was actually bent. So we did an axle swap pretty early on. So it went from a Dana 70, now it has a Dana 80 and another Dana 60 up front. This is a 2000 model truck, so 2000 to 2002. Obviously is capable of accepting 3rd gen brakes. So we kind of got started on that whole process. Yeah. So before I get too far into that, it does have a 5-inch exhaust. I think it's a Diamond Eye. And then stock springs in the rear. So this Dana 80 came out of the parts truck. 354 gears and open. Now that will also change in a very soon coming video. We got a new device for the rear axle that might help 2 spin at once. I don't know, we'll see how that turns out. We did put a B&W hitch in there. Factory springs. It's working out nice. These wheels and tires, I don't know, you might think they're goofy. A lot of people think they're goofy. I love these damn things. I've always loved them. I bought them off a friend. They just kind of have like a good stance, barely any poke, but it's just enough to look good. Huge fan. So got some nice Falcon Wild Peaks, just a couple thousand miles on them now. Loving them. They're E-rated, so we can put some weight on it. So to the front axle, we got 3rd gen brakes, 4th gen steering, a redhead steering box. Let's see, Skyjacker D25 springs, which are a budget spring, and they are not bad for what you get. Personally, I like running these with like a cheap shock for these country roads out here that are just so freaking rough. You know, it actually rides really good, especially for a 2nd gen, but you know, so we got a steering box brace, some cheap like Excel G KYB shocks, some budget Freedom Off-Road extended control arms, which I've bought a ton of sets of those just for like various little things, you know, and they work great, man. For $250 for a full set, it really makes a difference in the ride quality. Gets the axle pushed forward and centered up. Looks normal. Like, I dig it. However, we have something super cool for that to replace those. The springs, shocks, and control arms are going to be dramatically upgraded very soon. Rear axle, I do have a disc brake Dana 80 to rebuild. We're not actually going to rebuild this one. This one will go back into the parts truck, but we're going to build a donor and swap it in. Should be a nice little upgrade. Valair dual disc quiet organic model clutch. Shifts pretty good. I like NV 5600s. We've got a lot of G56 stuff happening. So, damn mosquitoes. We got a lot of G56 stuff happening. So this thing is actually going to get G56 swapped the very next time you see it on the channel. So we're going to start there. We're going to do some interior stuff. It does need a heater core, obviously, because it's a 2nd gen. I just replaced the condenser, all the lines. I got a new dryer to go in back there. So when I do the heater box, it's going to get a new evap. I need to finish up the engine to get swapped in. We have some upgrade parts for the turbo coming, some real big injectors, not real big, but pretty big. New injection setup. G56 swap. We're going to do a cool thing with the clutch. We're not actually going to buy a new clutch. I'm going to show you how to use a NV5600 clutch on a G56 application. We're going to do stereo stuff. We're going to put a touchscreen in this thing, which I really like for navigating on some of these roads, hauling around and whatnot. That gooseneck over there can be kind of a pain in the butt, and you don't want to be screwing around with your phone while you're hauling. Let's see what else. Rear springs. I'm not entirely sure what we're going to do with the rear springs, but we're going to do something cool with it because I need this thing to ride a little better. I'm getting old. So yeah, it's kind of where we're sitting with the old girl. I don't have like a cool catchy name for this project or anything, but I love this freaking truck, man. This thing's really growing on me. I drive it a lot. You know, with the injection pump that's coming, essentially we're going to be Ppump swapping a 24 valve to put in here. I have a 160 pump I'm going to build, that's going to go on there in the meantime, and eventually Lenny from Dynamite has sent one of my core Ppumps off to Northeastern to build one of their 12.5 variable timing Ppumps. Super stoked about that. But that's for, you know, I think it's at least a couple more weeks out. That's for down the road though, because by the time that pump's going on, I think we're actually going to get rid of that third pedal. We might be going back to auto. I don't know. We got a lot of cool stuff to play with, all the parts to do it, so it's converting from auto to manual in the second gen is just a matter of labor, which I don't care about. So yeah, it's kind of where she sits. As far as flaws, you might notice somebody had some stupid fender flares on this thing. Drives me absolutely crazy. So they got scuffs around here. I'll probably have that fixed eventually. They had some super dumb like bug guards for the, I don't know, man. And this I can't get off. I don't know what it is. It's like an adhesive tape thing, but it's hardened so hard I can't get it. But it's hardened so hard that I can't get it. So I don't really know what to do there. Can't wait for the Alpha X headlights because these suck so bad. These had some Amazon lights in it. I took the stock ones off the parts truck, put nice bulbs in it, put a relay in it. It's still just terrible. So we got some power upgrades. We got some, hopefully gonna have some lighting upgrades when Alpha X releases their second gen lights. Interior upgrades, stereo upgrades, some suspension upgrades, shifting upgrades. And we're gonna be hauling around our 20+5 in comfort. So there you have it with the second gen. Just a little intro video. I'm sure you know, a lot of you guys that are starting with these second gens might be interested in it. I think we've got it to a point where most of you, like if you just picked up a second gen, you're going to be kind of in this stage, this, you know, general area on your build. Probably should have started it back when it was just a carcass. It would have been fun to see it like come to life. But from here, we're going to be doing some really cool stuff that's really going to improve this truck. So stay tuned. I'll probably be uploading, you know, here and there. Like, comment, subscribe, appreciate it. We just got this sweet new Coyote, which I'm stoked about. Really helps moving that thing around when it's no longer operable. So yeah, back in the shop, I'm gonna get to it. Gonna get building some transmissions today, and then we're gonna pull that second gen in and start the G-swap, baby. Drive shafts are right there, ready to go in. All right, guys, see you later.